Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Industrial Complex. I'm your host, Dallas Deluxe, and tonight I have got a tale for you. Tonight is the first of a two-part episode called Those Crazy Adamskis. And tonight we are going to talk about the strange case of Zygmunt Adamski. This is a binary tale which kicks off a set of binary tales. So here we go. 1923, Zygmunt Adamski is born in Poland, and in 1945 immigrates to the county of Yorkshire in England. Gets a job as a coal miner and lives, by all accounts, a quiet life. Now, until 1980, he steps out to buy groceries on the evening of a family wedding and disappears. He's gone for 5 days, and his body is found at the top of a 12-foot high pile of coal, staring face up with a face that looks like he had been frightened to death. Now, there were no outward marks on the man except for some strange burn marks on his head, neck, and shoulders, and a lot of his body was covered in a strange green goo that to this day has yet to be identified. Now, what are we doing? Just go. Now, here's the thing. A coroner does an inquest and cannot find anything wrong with the man. Has the body for 6 months. Finally, more or less throws up his hands and gives up and calls it a heart attack, although more or less, leaves an open verdict. A heart attack is like a catch-all phrase. Which is kind of ironic because a heart attack leaves like telltale signs that are easy to detect. It is one of the easiest ailments to detect in the human body. And yet, that's what he comes back with. Now, the strange thing about this, other than he doesn't really look like he's had a heart attack or any, harm come to him, is that he's been gone for 5 days, but he only has 1 day of beard growth on his face, and he was fed all that time. His clothes were in good working order, except he stepped out wearing a suit, still had the suit on, still had the tie on, but did not have a shirt on. How do you have a suit with no shirt? And his shoelaces had been tied by, it looked like, as one person put it, like by somebody who did not know how to tie shoelaces. And the lump of coal, the pile of coal he was found upon, was 12 feet high, but had not been disturbed. No one had climbed up it, no one had climbed down it. It looked like, and this is how the coroner put it, the coroner said, if he had been deposited by a UFO, I would only raise one eyebrow. In other words, it looked like he had just been deposited there out of thin air. Now, that was a strange thing for the coroner to say because, as happenstance would have it, Yorkshire was in the middle of a major UFO flap. There had been sightings of UFOs, diamond-shaped and triangle-shaped UFOs, all over Yorkshire for the last several months. So UFOs were kind of on the tip of people's tongue, but still, kind of a strange statement to make. Now, what do I always say on this channel? It's not a mystery until it's a mystery. Now, that case was already strange enough, and most people would have just sort of shrugged their shoulders and went on with their lives, except 6 months later. Alan Godfrey, the police constable, who found Mr. Adamski on that top pile of coal, was out in his car late one night, a squad car. He was looking for a herd of cows, which is something you do when you're a police constable in a rural area. It's the middle of the night. He's out there all alone. He rounds a slight hill, and as he comes down, he sees what he thinks is a bus in the road. Thinking that there might be some sort of trouble, he rolls up on the situation, and guess what? It's not a bus. It's a craft, diamond-shaped, 20 feet wide, 14 feet high. It's got a ring of lights going around the top half of it, and it's hovering 5 feet off the ground. Now, Godfrey does not have a gun, does not have a camera. So he gets on the radio, calls base, no dice. Radio's nothing but static. Picks up his other radio in his car, no dice, nothing but static. Now, what's he do? No gun, no radio, no camera. All he's got left is a notepad. He takes it out, he starts sketching. He sketches the craft and it looks, boom, just like that. Now, of course, now, here's the thing. The craft does not just sit there. It starts coming at him. It draws closer and closer and closer until, bam! There's a blinding white light. Next thing you know, PC Godfrey is driving down the road. It's as if nothing had happened. Looks at his watch. Boom. 30 minutes have gone by. 30 minutes have simply disappeared for this man. And he wants to know why. Now, he makes a full report, as any good police officer would, but wanted to turn there, but I didn't. But here's the thing. He starts to become troubled, all right? He starts to have anxiety. He starts to have bad thoughts. He starts to have nightmares, bad ones. He finally undergoes hypnotic regression to find out what happened to him on that fateful night. And he tells a wild tale. He's in his car. He sees the white light. Next thing you know, he's floating in what he thinks is some sort of operating room type room. We've heard this one before, right? Okay. He's being examined by what he describes as a tall man in white robes with a white skull cap. Now, this individual is ordering about 8 of what he refers to as, initially, as robots. Now, what do the robots look like? They're about 3 or 4 feet high, gray, He said they had the bodies of children with lamps like heads. I'm sorry, heads like lamps. All right. Now, here's the thing. This is this crazy thing. He also describes the presence of an Alsatian, which is a dog in America. We call it a German Shepherd. Now, here's the thing. 2 things occur to me. Number one, this is about as classic of a abduction scenario as you can get, my friends. I think I took a wrong turn. Anyway, this is a classic abduction scenario. You have the tall being working over the smaller beings. All right? Now, here's the thing. The concept of the Greys has not, this is 1980, has not really hit the cultural zeitgeist, okay? The people weren't saying the term Greys back then. People were barely even thinking of them as aliens. So in his mind, they're robots because that's what he is to them, okay? Or that's what they are to him. He doesn't know what they are. Nobody said the word gray back then. This concept of the large heads and the black eyes hadn't really permeated the culture to the extent that it has permeated now. Now, the white man who, in his mind, or to Godfrey, was being called or as referring to himself as Joseph, obviously not his real name, but that's just how he was portraying himself to Godfrey. What do I think that was? You want my money? That was a reptilian. Okay? Which brings me to my second point. What's the other point? There's a lot of screen memories going on here. The tall man in white robes? No, it was not a tall man. You want my money? Like I said, it's a reptilian. Might have been wearing a mask, might have been shape-shifting, but that's generally how it goes. The reptilians, they're the overlords, and they control the Greys, and that's how it goes. Okay? That's what I think was going on. The Alsatian dog, sometimes described as a black dog, obviously it was not a dog. I really don't think that aliens came all this way and they carried with them a German Shepherd. Okay? I really don't think that's what's going on. I think it's another screen memory for some other kind of creature. Now, as he was laying there, they asked him a lot of questions, and they, examined his arms and legs, and boom, next thing you know, he's back in his car. He was not, subjected to the kind of, medical scrutiny that a lot of other abductees were subjected to, at least not that he remembers or is willing to talk about. But he did write a book about it called Who or What Were They? And you can see a cover of it right here. Check it out. You can buy it on eBay. I have not read it yet, but it does look pretty interesting. At that point, that's where it ends, my friends. Godfrey goes back to his life. Adamski's family picks up and moves on, and the whole affair goes down in history as one serious account of strangeness. There were a lot of UFO sightings in the UK at that time. Most of them diamond or triangle shaped. This is one of the many, and one of the weirdest ones. So there you have it, my friends, the strange tale of Zygmunt Adamski and Police Constable Alan Godfrey. A strange tale from the UK that's only going to get stranger. And that's the story for tonight, so stay tuned, my friends. I have part 2 of A Tale of Two Adamskis coming up when we talk about the insane story of one Mr. George Adamski. This is Dallas Deluxe signing off into the darkness, into the business end of the paranormal industrial complex.